Sporting News, Ephraim, did an interesting article about all the different dream teams. Redeem Team. I'm calling this Redeem Team 2. The Dream Team. You had Dream Team 2 in 1996 and all of that good stuff. Rob G's going to summarize it for us because he thinks we're forgetting a team that was tremendous.
Yeah, so what they did was, because everyone likes to debate who's the best team, Redeem Team, Dream Team, this Avengers team, whatever. But what gets lost in these conversations, and Chris, you alluded to it earlier, is like during the Dream Team, Magic had taken a year off. Larry Bird was a shell of himself. This year's team, LeBron's great, but he's 39. So you're maybe not getting the version that we all talk about of Magic, of Larry, of LeBron. So what they did is they ranked every single player who played for the Olympic team since 1992, because that was the first year they allowed professional players. But what they did, though, is they judged them based on the 4 years leading up to that team. So if it was Kobe in 2008, it was what he did from 05 to 08. And they gave a point system. You got points for all NBA, first team, second team, third team, points for championship, points for MVPs, yada, yada, yada. And what they determined, surprise, surprise, was that 1992 Michael Jordan is the single greatest player to ever play for Team USA basketball, which is not real shocking at all.
And was this completely like based on numbers, or was there anything subjective?
The only things that they factored in, nothing to do with Olympics, so how you played in the Olympics was immaterial. What they factored in, again, was MVP, which All-NBA team you made, a finals appearance, a scoring title, an all-star team. And you got different points for each one. So it worked out that Michael Jordan was the greatest player. 1992 version is the greatest Olympic player we've ever seen.
It's interesting because he had won. Well, yeah, he had won 2 rings at that point.
He had a couple of finals MVPs, couple of MVPs.
When LeBron played in 08, he hadn't won any. But did LeBron play in 2012?
Yeah, and so what's interesting about this list is that you have guys who played in multiple Olympics. So Kobe, based on their point system, 2008 Kobe is number 6, and 2012 Kobe is number 7. Because for those 4 years before each Olympics, he was doing all kinds of stuff.
Give us the top 10.
So the top 5 in order: 1992 Michael Jordan, 2012 LeBron James. This is a shocker. 2004 Tim Duncan. People forget 2004 Team Olympics was terrible, but Tim Duncan at that time was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
1996 Hakeem Olajuwon was 4th. 1992 Magic Johnson was 5th. 2012 Kobe, followed by 2008 Kobe. 1996 Scottie Pippen. 1996 David Robinson, and 2020 Kevin Durant.
And they're including the 2024 team?
Yes. And the problem is with that situation is there hasn't been really repeat champions. So the highest person on this current list is Joel Embiid on the heels of all of his All-NBA teams and scoring titles and so on. Wow. Next closest behind him is Jason Tatum. But if you look at this list, and again, there's 108 names on it, what stands out to me is that if you look at just the top 25, everybody thinks of the Dream Team, this Avengers team, the Redeem. These are the greatest Olympic teams of all time. In the top 25, the Dream Team has 5 players. The Redeem Team has 3 players. And the 1996 Dream Team 2 leads the way with 6 players, which means, according to Sporting News, that team is the greatest, most talented team we've ever sent to the Olympics.
And who was on that team?
A lot of guys from the Dream Team.
I'm going to read. I mean, it was stacked. I'll read it to you in order of the scoring. Charles Barkley was the leading scorer. And, it was 12 points a game because obviously they weren't playing as much. But Charles Barkley, David Robinson, Reggie Miller, Scottie Pippen, Grant Hill, Mitch Richmond, Shaquille O'Neal, Penny Hardaway pre-injury, Karl Malone. It's surprising Malone's only, was that low in the scoring, but Karl Malone, Gary Payton, Hakeem Olajuwon. He only averaged 5 points on that team, played 12 minutes a game. Again, this is when they were blowing teams out. And then the lower scorer was John Stockton. So that team was stacked. There was no Christian Laettner.
That team seems like
they'd be a problem.
They'll be a serious problem.
Look at the size. Here's what you got.
Goodness
The
gracious.
size, you have David Robinson,
Oof.
Hakeem Olajuwon, and Shaq
You got
inside.
brother. You got a problem on your hands.
Yeah. On the shooters, you have Mitch Richmond,
Reggie Miller,
and Stockton could shoot. You know, he just didn't shoot a lot. Then you just straight scorers. I mean, Barkley, Karl Malone, and then you had I'll throw in playmakers: Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway pre-injury, obviously Stockton, Gary Payton, who was a Hall of Fame point. Like that's a heck of a team right there.
That's a problem.
I mean, you could argue just because, like we said, Magic was, a year removed from NBA play, and Bird was not himself. I mean, there'd be an argument there. Olajuwon is better than Ewing.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, again, they don't have Magic, but they got Stockton.
And Chris, what this article is pointing out, and Ephraim, is maybe not necessarily that they have better players because Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, this team, Steph,
yeah, that's the
LeBron.
thing. There was no Jordan there.
What this article is pointing out is at the time we got these players, that 1996 team was the team that had the most guys in the prime at the best point in time in their career.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I remember seeing that. I actually covered that team a little bit. And I mean, again, and you'll remember this, Ephraim. Those were the days when, I mean, it was just a joke. These games were a joke.
Yeah.
Like you might watch the first 10 minutes. And
you had to go do something else?
Yeah, because I mean, we were not only blowing their teams out by 40, 30, 25, whatever it might be, but we were blowing them out early. If my recollection serves me right. Like it wasn't something. Now today obviously wasn't even a blowout, but even I think it was the last game who we played before Serbia. But for the first quarter and a half, maybe three quarters of the first half, it was
a game. It was a game.
Yeah, and then we generally pull away because we got so much more talent. But that wasn't happening back then.
No.
And again, I think, Ephraim, we had not only the great talent, but I just think, I think that we had a better understanding of playing team basketball.
Well, yeah, because everybody grew up playing team basketball.
That's how you grew up back then.
That's how it was. Look, that whole soliloquy I went on about the point guard and this, that's a real thing.
Yep.
That's a real thing. Like, you were raised and taught positions.
Yep.
And how to get the best out of a team and how to prepare and how to do. Like, everybody wasn't doing everything.
Well, and the offenses you grew up running, you moved.
Yes.
And everybody, even if you had a star on your team, it wasn't like give him the rock. And everybody kind of watch him go to work and maybe spot up to an open
They actually
spot
ran
where
plays.
He might pass to you. Right, you ran plays. And I understand when you are so talented with the basketball and athletic that nobody can kind of stop you one-on-one. You just kind of drive by guys, right? Oh, we can just give it to him and he can beat anybody. But that's not going to be a talented team, even if they're a little bit less talented than you, if they're playing together.
You know what else that I have realized just watching the games and what's lacking? This notion of nobody goes to rebound anymore.
Well, Embiid had 4 rebounds today.
So what happens is, because there are no true positions, you don't have a person who is dedicated to crashing the board every time. A lot of times when you watch the Olympics or NBA basketball, a shot goes up and you see everybody before the shot even gets to the rim trotting back down the other side.
Yep.
Right?
They want to stop the fast break.
There is no one crashing the board. Now, if you're down there and the shot goes up, okay. But no one is coming from 15 feet out and crashing the boards, right? Like Dennis Rodman would average 30 rebounds a game in today's NBA because he would be the one person crashing the board every time the shot went out, no matter where he was on the court. And I think in itself, that's a lost art, right? So you're willing to concede a rebound opposed to contesting it, maybe tipping it out, right? Like there's no effort going into attacking the rebound. If you're, like I said, if you're down there, then no one boxes out anymore. Then you box out, and then you'll try to tip it around or grab it or whatever. To me, though, all of these things are lost arts, like things that the teams that do well are teams that have multiple shots on one possession, right? You get double attempts, multiple attempts. That's why Nikola Jokic is so valuable. We almost blew it in the fourth quarter of that game because we couldn't get a rebound. We gave Serbia 3-4 opportunities. I'm talking about this is in the final 2 minutes at scoring a bucket. And I was just like, wow. No, my wife screamed at the top of her lungs, grab the rebound. Like nobody
Didn't South Sudan get that?
Yes.
When we almost lost? Yeah. They got, I think, 3 shots at the rim.
That's what
Two of them rebounds.
That's the whole thing. They're crashing the boards. It's especially for the NBA. It's a lost art. And if you don't believe me, just watch some games and you'll see no effort going into offensive rebounding. Or it's just weird to me.
In the late 90s, early 2000s, when I was covering the league, teams started, you might send 2 guys to the rim or you might send 1 for the offensive glass. But the priority was on getting back defensively. That's when, remember, the league was very defensive-minded, low scoring. And part of it was that teams they were like, look, we'll give up the offensive rebound unless this one man can get it. But we're getting most of our guys back to stop the transition game.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of a fan of that I am. I don't know if I like that aspect.
I mean, I don't think it's quite as pronounced now. But also, you also get a lot of long rebounds today because they're taking so many more threes and long jump shots. But yeah, like I said, Joel Embiid, biggest dude on the floor, had 4 rebounds today. Now, in fairness, Jokic only had 5, but